Alright.
Alright, let's see. I got my settings. Yes, okay. Alright. You recording it? I'm not.
Yeah, I'm recording it.
Okay, well then I'll start my record. Start. And it's going.
Awesome. We'll get through most of it, maybe.
Maybe. How long was this one? It was like 9,000, right?
Yeah.
I only overshot a little bit.
What was your estimate? Like 6,000?
Yeah. I'm working on the next one. I'm already probably going to overshoot that one too. I should just stop saying 6,000 and start saying 8,000.
You should just stop estimating altogether.
Yeah, probably.
There's absolutely no point.
The numbers don't mean anything anyway.
Oh, I got a bro hoof. I got to bro hoof this person. Haha.
Bro hoofed.
There we go. Alright, we should stop. We shouldn't have any shenanigans.
Or reasonably less. Much less shenanigans.
There's no time for shenanigans. Reading is serious business.
I believe it is, yes. Let me just make a bunch of noise here. Got it. Alright.
Let's see. I thought perhaps we could do this a little different. And by different, I mean I would just narrate everything while you would actually do people's voices.
Huh. I don't do voices. But I'll read what everyone says if that's what you mean.
Alright, yes, we'll do that then.
So I put 3 breaks in this one. Wow. I like how I forget what I put in each chapter. You'd think I'd know. But they're all the same story to me. They're all one thing. Alright, so should we welcome anyone, or do they don't need to be welcomed? Does it matter? Or the fact that I said welcome, is that good enough?
Yes. Good enough. Nobody cares. Seriously, I don't think anyone ever even pays attention to what I say in the beginning or the end of a video. They just listen to the reading.
Well, they gotta pay attention at the beginning because they don't know when you're gonna start. Kind of like us. We don't know when.
Well, it won't be like last time where we take an hour to start. Considering we only have an hour.
Yeah. We'll see how well this works.
It's gonna be so bad.
Ooh, chapter 12. Getting up there in the numbers. Alright. So, introduction. Chapter 12, The Great Brony Migration. To belong. I should just start here since somebody's talking. Hey, look at that.
Yeah. Hey, yeah, give us your best, I guess that's Fancy Pants.
No, it's somebody else. It's Lemon Drop, actually. So, let's go.
Oh.
Unprecedented. Unfounded. Dare I say unlawful. That's what this is. It is a deliberate, flippant, and obvious move against Celestia. There is no other explanation. Nightmare Moon still holds sway over her.
The angry, grating voice snapped Fancy Pants out of his daydream of rarity, something that got him angry in turn.
What drivel are you spouting now, Lemon Drop?
He scowled at the cream-yellow earth pony occupying the speaking platform on the hall floor. He wasn't even supposed to be there. None of them were. That is, if it had been a normal day. Fancy Pants occupied a comfortable seat near the top of the great court risers, as was his prerogative, being a senior courtier. I forgot how to pronounce that.
Yeah, courtier.
Oh, it is a courtier? Sweet!
Yep.
Being a senior courtier. Exactly 4 other seats were occupied around the hall, 5 being the minimum number of courtiers required to oversee the conclusion of this ridiculous filibuster. As he waited for the inevitable acid response from the yellow earth pony, Fancy Pants cursed the filibuster clause in the court guidelines.
This drivel, Fancy Pants, holds portents that may well throw us into another civil war. Perhaps you should pay attention instead of letting your mind wander.
A smug grin spread across the contemptible pony's face. Fancy Pants narrowed his eyes, then quickly glanced at the hourglass on the proceeders' dies. I forget.
Deus. I've heard it pronounced many ways. In my head, it's Deus.
Deus Ex Machina. The tired young unicorn, charged with turning it, rolled her eyes and flipped the device over, allowing the blue sand to pour lazily into the opposite end. Great. He just bought the loudmouth another 20 minutes of blathering. Sure enough, Lemon Drop inhaled deeply, readying himself for another tirade on things ranging from Luna's supposed illegal movements to the state of Staliningrad's roads. Before he had a chance to begin, however, Fancy Pants cleared his throat and tapped his hoof, signaling that he wished to offer a rebuttal. The poor mare at the hourglass turned it once again.
First, esteemed Lemon Drop, I would like to expound on my interruption.
He gave the annoyed earth pony a cold smile.
I think it should be observed that the Sisters Royal do not engage in politicking like your average pony. Such an idea is quite insulting, to be honest. There is no part of our constitution that bars either of our beloved princesses the power to govern directly. This taking on of additional responsibility is very generous of Princess Luna.
Huzzah!
Did you hear that?
I did hear that. There has never been an immigration of this size in our history, so I fail to see why you seem to think it being unprecedented is a problem.
The other courtiers nodded in agreement. It was high time this nonsense ended.
Your arguments are wholly unfounded. Observing the tertiary clause of your filibuster, I motion to declare your statements as slander. Courtiers in favor of this motion?
He swept a stern gaze over the room. The other 4 courtiers briefly made eye contact, then raised their right hooves. Lemon Drop seethed on the platform.
The court has agreed unanimously.
The court scribe, Gilded Scroll, announced in her thin but strong voice.
Slander is prohibited and unbecoming of a courtier, Master Lemon Drop. Mr. Lemon Drop. By royal edict, you are hereby on probation for 3 weeks. Your speaking privileges have been revoked. Pending review, 3 of your previous votes may be redacted. This session is at a close. We adjourn now and resume in 3 days' time.
She was dry and old, but even the unflappable Gilda was pleased to see this particular session over. The soft creaking of the wooden risers filled the hall as the courtiers left, eager for their beds. According to the large clock set in the far wall, it was already well past midnight. Fancy Pants sighed. Dreams of Rarity would have to wait. He had work yet to do, and most of it involved taking a certain yellow pony down a few rungs.
Political intrigue. Oh.
That Luna huzzah was very well placed. Good.
That was perfect.
Good job, Facebook. Pony hoof. Everyone go download it. Yeah. I regret saying I would narrate.
Well, let's switch it for this break. I'll narrate and you can say things.
Awesome. Who do I get to be?
Everyone. Every pony.
Alright.
I believe this is mostly just Serial and Luna talking to each other. Yeah, it is.
Oh, I get to try out my Luna voice again. Oh. Serial Velocity. You look so dashing in this moonlight.
Oh. Okay. Scroll back at the top. Okay, here we go. Moon shadows played on the hilltop overlooking the Brony camp. The soft summer breeze pushed lethargic clouds over the everfree forest, while stars twinkled above. Serial sat under a wispy old ash tree. He decided on this location for his meeting with Princess Luna, mostly because it was off a ways from the camp, in a direction the Bronies seldom went. The tree looked like it could use some company, standing up here all alone. He felt that way himself. He didn't feel like part of the Bronies anymore, but he didn't feel like part of the ponies either. What was he then? Apparently he was the only Brony to have a cutie mark the natives could see. It was his imagination, at least that's what he hoped, that the other Bronies treated him differently. Before he could talk and joke with them, but now they were all stiff and respectful to him. The main six were friendly enough, but he was an outsider to them. The other ponies from Ponyville in the camp merely nodded when he asked them favors or when he offered to help with some task. They didn't know what to think of him. Even Foe and Seth seemed to be more distant. What changed? The grass in front of him glowed with a soft blue light. Cereal fed magic into a pair of diamonds set into a large pendant given to him by Princess Luna. The pendant was of a finely wrought gold, divided into 3 sections by thin bars of silver. In each section was a gem, 1 ruby, 1 amethyst, and a pair of diamonds.
I should turn that off, maybe.
Yeah, probably.
No one wants to hear huzzahs every 5 minutes. Well, I don't mind it, but... Play sounds. That's off now. Save. Reload. We're ready.
Alright. Okay, there it was. According to Luna, every governor in Equestria, be they mayors, dukes, or duchesses, had one identical to this. They were all unique in some way, though they served the same purpose. Focusing a simple light spell into one of the gems signifies different things. When one gem was lit, its double in Canterlot would glow. The pendants in Canterlot were watched at all hours by messengers. They knew which pendant belonged to whom and what each gem meant. Right now he was signaling the desire to speak with Luna. Urgent, but not pressing. He liked Luna well enough. She was kind and intelligent, but she made him nervous. There was no reason to be nervous around her. He had to tell himself that an awful lot. Something about her intensity, her somewhat impulsive drive, made him uneasy. Perhaps it was the sensation of her always nearby that was getting to him. He could feel her presence even though she was in Canterlot and he was in the camp. And then there was the itch. It was a persistent tingle that rested in the back of his mind, constantly reminding him of Luna's instructions. When he learned of something that related to his duties, especially anything he needed to report, the itch grew stronger. When Laichonious spoke the words Dream Valley, it felt like an auger was thrust into the back of his head. He could barely stand the rest of the day, dragging on as the itch tried to split his skull in half. He barely listened to the Red Unicorn's explanations of the rest of the text, but somehow he remembered everything the linguist had said. Something about the eccentric Brony tickled at Cereal's memory, but it was hard to pin down. After his experience in the vault with the princesses, his old life was becoming harder and harder to remember. The night coalesced before him, starlight streaming to moon shadows made solid. Luna, princess of the night, stepped from the shadows as if from a doorway to another plane. For a moment his breath ceased. Her beauty seemed to make the stars glow brighter, and her presence brought a blessed end to the itch in his head. With her there, he almost felt complete. He pushed that thought out of his mind as he bowed deeply to her.
So I decided I won't do Luna from Friendship is Witchcraft. I will just do a generic woman voice, I suppose. Here I am, Serial Velocity.
She stepped forward and placed a platinum-shod hood gently on his shoulder.
I trust you have found one who knows this ancient language.
He fought down shivers when she spoke. The knowledge that he was on the verge of completing a task made his heart race. It was the sort of intense anticipation one gets when on the precipice of a cliff, looking over the edge.
I have, Princess,
Cereal said, straightening from his bow.
He is called Laichonious, and he's a very accomplished scholar of the language. He calls the letters runes, and they have come from an ancient people of our world known as the Norse. He translated the copy pages very quickly, Your Highness. Apparently, they are very old, but he says that from one page to the next, the runes changed, like they had skipped several hundred years.
Luna's mouth quirked in a little smile.
Very good. I had the scholars in Canterlot select random pages to copy. It was my assumption that the pages in the front of the book were older than those in the back. It had the look of a tome that was compiled at different times. It appears that this Laichonious is indeed accomplished.
She paused to regard him for a moment. Her smile faded.
Is there something more you wish to tell me?
A million questions flooded his mind, followed by thousands more fears and worries. There was a great deal he wanted to tell her, but his tongue tied itself in knots at the opportunity.
Only, Princess, that he found the name of a location that holds great significance, mostly to us. We asked Twilight if she knew anything about this place, but she had never heard of it before. There was only one page that had the name, Dream Valley. The other pages alluded to it, but never by name. He said that it was called home several times by the writers of the book. Have you ever heard of such a place, Princess?
Luna furrowed her brow, her eyes moving as if she were searching an invisible book of her thoughts. After a few moments, she considered him again.
I do not believe I have. What does this name mean so much to you?
Cyril opened his mouth to explain, even going so far as to inhale, then let it all out in an impotent sigh. He couldn't believe they had gone so long without explaining how they knew of Equestria at all. It seemed like the princesses just took it as a matter of course, though they seemed to know that humans had been here before. Why wouldn't they know of the place the humans apparently made their home?
I don't know how to explain. In our world, there's this thing called television. It's, like theater, I guess. Only you don't have to be there at the stage to watch the show.
Luna nodded.
So that is why it's called far-seeing. Is this a form of magic related to scrying? I don't know what that is, Princess.
He muttered. The princess smiled at him.
'Tis a mark of good character to admit that one does not know something, especially to one they serve. Come, it would be best to show you than to explain.
She turned to face where she had stepped from her dark doorway. Again the night became solid, forming the doorway to the other plane. He tried to look through it, but found that his eyes would slide to one side or the other, towards the edges of the opening. He looked to Luna, and in the corner of his eye he thought he saw through the portal. He looked at it directly again, but could not.
Princess, what's that? So I was wondering how to pronounce it. Is it Audit or Audit or something else?
I don't know, actually. I think it's... In my head, I say Adit.
Adit, ah.
Yeah.
Adit. Very well. This is an Adit, a rift that is used to enter the Aether. The what?
Luna paused in walking through the portal and turned to regard him.
Forgive me, I forget that you have not yet been instructed in magic theory. The Aether is the domain of the Evermind. It is at all times, in all places, yet residing only in one. Those able to create the Adits can traverse the Aether in order to span long distances. So, teleporting with doorways?
He asked.
Not exactly. Teleporting, or blinking, is almost instantaneous and requires a great deal of concentration and energy. Because of this, blinking has limited range. However, nearly every unicorn can blink to one degree or another. The Adits are much harder to create. As far as I know, only one unicorn lives today that can Aether jump. Come along now, I will teach you more of magic.
She paused again, holding his gaze in her own.
Try not to touch the edges of the Adit. The results are unpleasant.
She stepped through the strange portal and disappeared. Cyril apprehensively put the gold pendant back into his saddlebag and cautiously stepped through the opening, careful not to touch the strange edges, and was no more. He could not see anything, hear anything, feel anything. It was a void. He was the void. He had the vague impression that he was supposed to go somewhere, that he must have come from somewhere. Cyril blinked at the soft, lush grass beneath his hooves. Moonlight glittered on the surface of an impossibly clear pond. The air was thin, stirring past his face in a breeze, chilling yet gentle enough not to disturb the pond. The sound of water falling in the distance seemed to open the range of his sight. Fading from the infinite nothing of that void came a sight to steal one's breath away. Above, the night stretched out, countless stars in a cosmic dance hung above him, close enough to reach out and touch. Below him, wind-sculpted clouds waited patiently for the Pegasus caretakers to return. Before him and to all sides, the fair land of Equestria slept. Quilted fields, lush meadows, green forests, sparkling lakes, and graceful rivers came together in a dazzling tapestry of harmony that pulled at his heart. He abruptly became aware of Luna's dark form beside him. She was impossibly close to him. The currents of magic that constantly coursed around her tugged at his soul in eddies like the heart of a bonfire.
You are atop the Shine Spire, Serial Velocity, at the headwaters of the Sweetwater Falls in the mighty River Unity. It is a place very few visit, but it is one of my favorite places in all of Equestria.
Luna gazed fondly over the pond.
I am not as proficient at scrying as my sister. Celestia can use any medium to spy out the unseen. Once, I saw her use naught but the water in the air to call visions of things afar. 'Twas a sight to see. I just can't get it right. 'Twas a sight to behold indeed.
Serial blinked at the impossible surroundings, breathing heavily in the thin air. This was a ways off from what he thought they would talk about, but Luna seemed so happy to teach him something that he kept his peace and focused on staying on his hooves. If he fainted in the middle of her lecture, she might understand, but it was best not to dwell on it.
Has Twilight Sparkle instructed you in opening the mind's eye?
Luna asked, turning to him.
Yes, Your Highness.
He was out of breath. Talking was a lot harder than he remembered it being. Luna hissed to herself.
I beg your forgiveness, Serial. It appears that I have once again forgotten that you are not accustomed to any of this. Please, sit, catch your breath. We will continue when you are ready.
She suited her own words and sat next to him. The gray unicorn gladly took a seat. The high altitude was making his legs tingle. They both sat in silence for a few moments, looking into the crystal waters of the pond, until he could stand it no more.
Princess?
He began in a small voice.
Why are you showing me this?
He looked up at her. Luna's face was blank, but her eyes held such a mixture of sadness, anger, and pain that he feared he had overstepped his bounds.
You don't have to answer, Princess. Just forget I ever said anything.
He mumbled.
No.
She said softly.
That is a valid question.
She put one hoof on the edge of the pond, touching the surface of the water. She barely disturbed the water, but the ripples, almost imperceptible at her hoof, radiated outward to fill the whole of it, making the mirror image of the starry sky distort and dance.
Let's see. Suppose for a moment that this pool is time. What do you see? A change? Correct. What does that mean to you?
Serial had no idea why he was even there. Somehow, a report to the princess became a philosophy lesson. He felt like a twig in a river again, just along for the ride and hoping there weren't any rocks.
Well, if the pool is time, then what is closest to us must be the beginning, and the other side is the end. A change here, even if it's small, can have a big impact later. Have you heard this lecture before, perchance?
She asked with a satisfied smile. He grinned sheepishly, looking away from her and hoofed at the grass.
I've watched a lot of movies. What are these movies?
She was suddenly perplexed.
Or is this another form of this far-seeing you have in your world?
He resisted the urge to hit himself in the face with a hoof.
Yes, Princess, but they tend to be, longer and more elaborate. They aren't really that important, though. If you insist.
Just like that, the subject was dropped, and the smile disappeared from her face.
Time is a strange thing, Serial Velocity. To many, it seems to flow in one direction, forward. But to us, who can see and feel time in its glory, it is constantly doubling back. The pool is an imperfect analogy, but it has its merits. You said that the edge nearest us would be the beginning. It could be seen as such, I suppose. But to time, there is no end or beginning. There are no borders that hold time in some arbitrary shape. Watch the strange words, what? Ehamez. Ehamez. Watch the Ehamez closely.
Again she put her hoof at the very edge of the pool. Cyril blinked at the strange word. Instinctively he knew that it was not English. Yet he also knew what it meant. Water. How did he know? What was happening to him? He stared at the pool, barely seeing. The vestiges of the previous disturbance seemed to come alive again with the new ripples. They grew larger and larger until they hit the opposite edge. They struck, then reflected, smaller than before, but now going in the other direction, returning to their source. They reflected again and again until they faded from the surface, their energy spent.
One thing this pool shows to be true. Actions will return to their source eventually.
Luna continued.
I have long believed that what has happened came about for a reason. One that I may not be able to discern at this moment, but a reason still.
She glanced at the sky, marking the position of the moon.
I will be brief, young Cyril. You will need your rest, and I don't know why. I would be loath to deny it of you. However, there are a few things that you will need to know before bringing the scholar to Canterlot for translating the vault.
She paused again and took a deep breath.
I feel the need to help you, and your kind, the Bronies. There is a sense of destiny that I cannot deny, an obligation that I must fulfill. 1,000 years is a long time to pay for a mistake. In that time, everything I knew, everything I had, was lost. A decade ago, I began anew. Here you and yours came, to also begin again. I think there is much we can teach each other, Cyril Velocity.
She flashed him a quick smile, but her tone darkened as she continued.
There are factions here in Canterlot that would lead you to think that I am attempting to pull the past with me here, to change things back to the way they were. Do not heed them. They would poison you against me if they had the chance. Why they feel so threatened is beyond me, but their animosity is proving to be troublesome. You need not fear. I will protect you from them.
The gray unicorn shivered slightly in the chill breeze of the mountain top. Listening to her, he could feel that she was talking about more than just protecting him and the Bronies from dissenters. Though the night was calm and he felt safe, her worry infected him. Even more troubling, he could not trust his ears. His ears heard... Okay, you ready for this?
Yes.
Iasculu esu kuntene vonul. But his mind thought, I will protect you from them. No matter how brief the princess was in her instruction, he wasn't going to get much sleep tonight.
So, we will switch back and I will narrate if you're fine with that.
Yep, might as well.
Now give me your best rarity.
Ah.
Oh, right there's perfect, darling.
Right there's perfect, darling.
That's the best I can do. Right.
I just sound weird when I try to do it. Anyway, let's try. Let's see what. Right there is perfect, darling.
Rarity said. The dusty grey Pegasus stallion next to her smiled widely at having remembered where to put the various eating utensils in relation to his plate. That's a long sentence.
It is a very long sentence.
Rarity presided over perhaps the most absurd dinner table in Equestria. It started in her pavilion and didn't end until you got to the hill almost 5 scepters away. 48 Bronies sat to either side of the long hodgepodge table on the grass. 3 separate tablecloths were draped over the thing. Unfortunately, they were all garnished and didn't match at all. The table dressing wasn't the most bothersome thing about it, though. It rose and fell with both the uneven ground and several different portable tables that were used to fill in the gaps between the larger proper tables. Such was necessary to accommodate the large number of ponies in attendance. Thanks Celestia, they didn't have to worry about food at the moment. This was only a dry run for bringing together their several classes and to practice in a more hooves-on situation. No less than 4 sets of cutlery and dishware adorned the haphazard and empty dinner.
Now, I would like every pony to locate the appetizer fork, please.
Rarity had to speak very loudly in order to be heard at the end of the long table. She was going to most definitely split them into smaller groups for the next practice. A few of the Bronies around the table regarded their utensils with blank stares.
Can every pony pick up their appetizer fork?
Forks lifted from the table in the clouds of magic of every color. Soft clicking skittered around the table as the various other ponies tried picking up their forks with their hooves, with varying degrees of success. Not all of them had gotten the hang of it just yet. A pale green stallion, a few ponies down, automatically went for the fork with his mouth, bending over the table. Rarity scolded him.
Remember to use your hoof, tone shift.
The green stallion slowly straightened and picked up a hoof. He looked at it doubtfully, but did as he was told. Rarity nodded in approbation. After a few moments, a quick study of the table showed that all the ponies had found their forks.
Very good, every pony. You all are doing very well. We'll have you brushing shoulders with the Cantalot Elite in no time.
A bell tolled from the center of the camp, signaling the end of the morning class block. Rarity waited a moment before speaking again, watching the Bronies at the table. They all put their silverware down, but obediently stayed in their seats. Rarity tried not to smile. It was almost too easy.
I'm very impressed,
she said airily.
Congratulations on remembering the first rule of dinner etiquette. Wait for the hostess to lead. Very well done indeed. You're all excused. Class dismissed.
She stood and walked to the side of the table, so that the ponies at the end would know that they were done. They couldn't always hear her.
Have a nice day.
A chorus of polite farewells answered her as the ponies left the pavilion, heading off to their various classes. She started going around the table, gathering up the silverware into baskets for the next group to set up and humming contentedly to herself.
Would you like some help, Miss Rarity?
A pastel olive unicorn stallion stood by the now empty table, grinning ear to ear. Rarity blinked in surprise. Didn't she just watch all of them leave?
Oh yes, of course. That would be very gentlecultish of you. Thank you.
She recognized the stallion. We had one of those strange brony names. She had the most terrible time remembering them.
There it is. Okay, found it. Artemis, and I'm glad to help.
That's not that strange of a name.
It is to them.
Well, I suppose. He provided his name with a smile and started levitating silverware in clouds of grey magic.
An unusual color for magic, did you know?
Rarity said conversationally.
Really? It wasn't like that yesterday, though. Can your magic change color, Miss Rarity?
She thought for a moment.
Well, it's been known to happen from time to time. Very rare. It's like having one's eyes change color. So, does it depend on eye color?
He asked, looking at himself in the back of a spoon.
Not necessarily, but it tends to work out that way. Oh, how should I do this?
Give me your best derpy voice, or ditzy-do.
Ditzy-do. I can't do voices though. I'm so boring.
Like,
I'm the most boring person ever.
My ditzy-do is just kind of me with a nasally accent. It's not very convincing.
Let's see. No, I'll just read it normally.
Aha!
There you are, Rarity. Yeesh, you wouldn't believe the trouble I went to find you. Hey, who put this table here?
A grey Pegasus mare with a blonde mane regarded the offending furniture with a lopsided glare. Rarity smiled and rolled her eyes at the Pegasus.
Don't worry about it, darling. Do you have some mail for me? I apologize for not leaving a note. I should have let you know I'm working elsewhere for a while.
In her peculiar way, the Pegasus focused on Rarity with a two-stage shift of her brilliant gold eyes.
Oh yeah, I got a letter for you from Canterlot.
She trotted wide of the table, shooting a distrustful glare at it as she pulled an envelope from her saddlebags. Rarity accepted the envelope with a smile.
Why, thank you for coming all the way out here to deliver it. I imagine this is out of the way for your route. Nah, I like getting to see other places sometimes. Flying the same route gets boring after a while. Hey, I like your new statue there. He looks almost real. He almost looks real. I like how I switched that completely. Look at that.
Yes. Rarity paused in opening the letter to raise a brow at the Pegasus. The bubbly male mare was walking around Artemis, who stood stock still.
What? Oh no, he isn't a statue, darling.
Rarity went over to the Brony and gave him a little nudge on the shoulder.
Go on, introduce yourself.
The olive unicorn blinked, giving a quick flick of his red-streaked black tail. He cleared his throat.
I'm Artemis. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance, Miss Hooves. Hooves?
The Pegasus slowly forced her other eye to focus on the flustered Brony.
You're Derpy Hooves, right?
He smiled apologetically at her.
Oh, no. Derpy is my twin sister. I'm Ditsy-Doo, the male mare. How do you know Derpy?
His eyes shifted around the pavilion, at last resting on Rarity. He seemed to be silently pleading with her. For what? She hadn't the foggiest, so she returned his gaze with a raised eyebrow. Finally, Artemis hoofed at the ground a little, laying his ears back.
I, heard some, gossip. Yeah, gossip. Some other ponies were talking about a great Pegasus, blonde hair. Said her name was Derpy.
Ditsy blinked at him, then scrunched up her nose with distaste.
Huh. I hope it wasn't anything mean. The other ponies are kind of rough on her. Oh, no. It wasn't mean or anything like that. They were just talking about how cute she was.
Something was getting to him. He was sweating bullets.
Oh, is that all? Well, I hope the doctor doesn't get wind of it. He might have something to say to that.
She giggled some more.
The doctor?
Artemis squeaked. Ditsy nodded.
Uh-huh, the doctor. Derpy likes to call him Dr. Hooves. Embarrasses him something awful.
She confided with a giggle.
I don't see why the two haven't hitched up yet, really. She's been galloping around with him for quite a while now. Oh, sorry. You probably don't want to hear about that. That's all right,
he said slowly. His face was all scrunched up, his gaze not quite with the here and now. He was pretty well shaken up. Ditsy had the effect on ponies sometimes.
Oh, well, can't chit-chat all day. I've got some more mail to deliver before noon. It was nice meeting you.
She spread her wings and jumped into the air.
Ditsy, wait!
Rarity tried to warn her.
Wah!
Ditsy collided with the roof of the pavilion, nearly falling on her face.
What the... Who put this tent here? Do be careful, Ditsy dear. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm fine.
She hovered off to one side to get the front... I don't know what's wrong with me. I just can't read anything right. Anyway, enough of that. She hovered off to one side to get out from under the pavilion, keeping at least one eye up to make sure she was clear.
I'll see you later, I guess. I'll drop by to see if you want to send a letter back or anything. Bye.
And with that, she was gone as suddenly as she appeared. Artemis sat down heavily, letting out a long sigh.
I talked to Ditsy-Doo,
he whispered, sighing again. Rarity shook her head at the strangeness of Bronies.
You aren't going to be late for your next class, are you, dear? Oh, yeah. No, I'm heading over to Miss Lyra's class next. It's just over there. Well, just make sure you aren't late, then.
It didn't look like he was paying much attention. She went on to open the envelope and smiled at the familiar lettering that adorned the thick stationery. Dearest Rarity, I believe you will be pleased to hear that you and your friends have created quite a stir here in Canterlot. Why, I haven't seen this much upheaval since the return of our dear Princess Luna. Even so, I find myself tiring at the constant antics of the courtiers in recent days, and find myself craving a vacation. I also must admit that I have been missing you terribly, and would like to see for myself that you are well and back on your hooves. The modern party has reached a new level of idiocy recently. Just last night they staged a filibuster in the hall to ramble about Princess Luna's jurisdiction over your new friends. I don't know how much more of this silliness I can take. I would have walked away some time ago if I knew that the traditionalists would fare without me. Unfortunately, they tend to stray into the same underhooved politicking that the modernists do. What's worse, rumors have reached my ears that they are planning on nominating me to be a voice in the High Court. I feel a leave of absence is in order, a few days at most. I'm very curious about these Bronies. Celestia's official proclamation concerning them perhaps raised more questions for me than answered. I hope this isn't too sudden and warning enough for you, but I plan to be in Ponyville in the mid-morn train tomorrow. A day should be plenty of time to organize the traditionalists so they don't do something rash whilst I'm away. But before I forget, I think you would like to know that the Nocturne Guard has been marshaled. I'm not sure of what this means, but I hope you know more than I on the subject. With great anticipation, Fancy Pants. Rarity carefully folded the letter and placed it back inside the envelope with what she knew was probably a wistful expression. That Fancy Pants was a strange pony indeed. As soon as he got here, she was going to have a word or two with him. She wasn't about to throw away an illustrious political career for her, as much as she would love to spend more time with him.
Look!
Rarity's head snapped up at the shout. It was followed by several others. All around, ponies stopped in the middle of their tasks and looked to the southeast, pointing with their hooves. Rising over the treetops of the Everfree was a ring of colors. It sped outwards at an impossible rate, like a sideways rainbow. Gasps of awe echoed around the camp as every pony seemed to collectively hold their breath. After a few moments, a cerulean blur appeared over the trees, trailing a brilliant rainbow. Rainbow Dash soared through the air, laughing with glee and shouting,
We found him! We found him!
Perfect. That Rainbow Dash impression is flawless.
Yep. Oh, I get to narrate now.
Ah, yeah.
Oh, last break. Let's see. How long do I have? I think we have plenty of time. Alright.
Shenanigans afterwards? Who's heard of such a thing?
What is shenanigans you speak of? It's not in my vocabulary. Alright. Twilight watched closely as Laichonious worked on the plank of wood. Her quill scratched along the parchment next to her, methodically documenting his every move. He seemed to have gotten the hang of using his hooves to hold the strange utensils, though it would be faster to use magic to make the symbols on the wood. The interior of the scholar's tent was thick with the smell of sap, charcoal, and freshly cut wood. All of this was overlaid by the sweet... how have you heard this? I've heard it heady and heady.
Heady.
There you go.
Heady? They got heady in there? Okay. I'll listen to the robot.
I have once considered just letting the robot do an entire reading.
That would be amazing.
Do you think people would actually listen?
I would. I'd laugh at it the whole time.
Hey, I want to know how he pronounces Retsamore.
Ratsamurai.
Perfect.
Red Samurai. Alright. All of this was overlaid by the sweet, heady scent of incense. Wait, did I say that right? I didn't. Is it heady? Yeah, it was heady. Never mind. All of this was overlaid by the sweet, heady scent of incense that the red unicorn favored. Retsamore had stepped out for a while with a sly grin on his face, a parcel wrapped in a blanket floating by his side. Twilight suspected that he had swiped the curious floating board and was doing something with it, but Laichonious didn't seem to mind. That is, if he saw that it was missing. She couldn't tell if he ever noticed anything other than what currently held his attention. He seemed constantly lost in deep thought, somewhere far away from where he was, but would surprise her with his observations. Pisfer, the electric blue unicorn, was chatting quietly with Serial in the sunlit rectangular entrance of the large tent. The steward seemed especially tired today. Even as she glanced over at him, his eyes drooped with his ears. The blue unicorn didn't seem to notice Serial's lack of participation. The vigorous tapping of Laichonious' hoof on the end of the strange tool he used brought her attention back to the plank of wood and the strange otherworldly ritual. It looked like he was putting the finishing touches on the carving, enclosing the winding line of runes and a double border of square spirals that alternated directions. She made a quick note. The lettering, or runes, are angular, as are the designs that often accompany them. But their path on the wood flows as I imagine water would along its surface, avoiding the knots and following the grain.
What form of magic did you call this?
She asked as she finished the last word of her notes.
Would you like to voice yourself?
I guess I could.
I mean, I just thought you would, since it's you.
Technically it's all me. But anyway. This is called inscription. The ancients believed that the runes themselves held power when carved into elemental materials like stone, gold, and wood. They were right, it seems. The scholar blew on the most recent carvings, removing small pieces of debris.
I see several other symbols there. Does that mean that there are other runes?
The word felt very strange on her tongue. It was different, strange, and exciting. Well, there are only 24 runes. These other runes are called stacks. When a rune is stacked on itself, it signifies its own name, like this one here. He tapped his hoof on a rune with one line straight up and down, with two sets of 3 short lines branching out from it, pointing down. It reminded her of how a foal would draw a pine tree. This rune's name is Tiwaz, the red unicorn continued, either referring to the ancient god Tyr or to the gods in general. It often starts and ends an inscription, which I understand is supposed to be what gives the inscription its power and why normal writing has none. He went back to his work, adding more spirals around the border. Twilight quickly wrote down everything he said. The implications of such things as written spells were mind-boggling. This could revolutionize the creation of Machina for one. They were simple devices that could only do one thing. If they had an entire language to use, Machina could do more. Be more sophisticated and all around more useful for the average pony.
So, what's this inscription you just finished do?
She asked, dipping her quill. Laichonious brushed a few flakes of wood from the carving before answering. I can't be certain. She raised an eyebrow at him.
But I thought you were an expert. Shouldn't you know how exactly what will happen?
He shrugged. I may know the language, but I've never practiced the art. I only figured out that the magic worked yesterday. There's bound to be all sorts of nuances and rules that I don't know.
Oh, that's right. Seo told me that there's no magic in your world. Well, what do you think it will do then?
When I put the last stack Tiwaz at the end, it should activate. What I think it will do is create a shield for the plank and make the wood light as a feather. He paused, regarding the plank and its runes, with a critical eye and a tilt to his head. Or it could burst into flame. I've had that happen a couple times already. He picked up the carving tool once again. Before he had a chance to finish the last rune, a very excited Retsumori galloped into view, running into Serial. Their heads connected with a hollow thunk like coconuts banging together, almost knocking the sleepy gray unicorn off his hooves.
Oh, is that me?
Yeah.
Guys, you gotta come see this.
The collision didn't seem to faze the tan unicorn. Twilight even thought she caught a satisfied smirk on his face for a split second.
See what?
Pisfer asked.
I think it's a sonic rainboom. Rainbow Dash must have found the lost Bronies. Just come here. He disappeared from the oh wait.
You took my gear! He disappeared from the opening of the tent, leaving a dazed and grumbling Serial behind. Laichonious set his tools down and adjusted the spectacles on his nose. Twilight frowned at the unfinished plank, slightly disappointed that she wasn't going to see this new magic at work. She put away her notes and inkwell, following the others out into the daylight. The street was full of ponies. All of them stood facing the southeast. The excited babble of hundreds of ponies filled the air as they pointed with their hooves to the sky. Spreading over the clear blue of the summer sky was a fiery ring of colors that produced gasps of awe from the surrounding Bronies. Twilight could just barely make out the blur that was Rainbow Dash, streaking towards the camp over the dark canopy of the Everfree. The blue Pegasus buzzed the camp, flying low to the ground and rustling tents and banners in her wake. She laughed and yelled,
We found him! We found him!
As she passed overhead. Cheers erupted all around. Ponies cantered in the road, jumping and stomping on the ground. Twilight even thought she saw the grey fist of a minotaur thrust into the air at one point. She made a mental note to start an official census. She smiled and stomped on the ground along with the other Bronies as Rainbow made a victory lap over the camp, the bright form of her namesake fading as she slowed to land. After a few more waves to the Bronies, she disappeared behind the tents.
Looks like she went to the medical tent,
Twilight said, putting a hoof over her forehead to block the sun.
We should go see if she needs any help with the returning Bronies. Laichonious, would you accompany us?
Serial seemed to shake himself out of his stupor, stepping away from the entrance to the tent and giving the red unicorn a heavy-lidded look.
Yeah, you should come with us. I have a few things that Princess Luna asked me to relay to you before she arrived anyway. I'm actually kind of confused. I don't know who's talking. Wait.
Hold on, there's something missing here. Hey, there's like an entire sentence missing. What the heck?
God, Laichonious, what's wrong with you?
But it's in my document. What is going on? Where'd it go? Where is it?
Didn't you say film fiction like to add words?
It does like to add words.
Well, apparently, it secretly takes them away.
It just eats them. Oh my goodness. Where is that?
It didn't... I don't feel like it confused me when I read it last week. But maybe I wasn't paying enough attention.
Did I get hacked?
Doubtful. Possibly.
Yeah, it's right there. I have the sentence right here. What the heck? So Twilight snorted. Wait, did you say that Princess Luna was coming here? Why didn't you say anything before?
Now it makes sense.
Exactly. I'll have to fix that.
And even though apparently
Nobody caught that.
I mean, I didn't catch it till now, so.
Well, there is clearly a sentence missing.
Well, good. Something good has come out of this reading. You realize that fanfiction screwed up.
Yep. Secretly love you, fanfiction, but you're a terrible, terrible thing.
Where were we?
Oh.
Yeah, oh. Oh. I said oh.
Oh. Serial rubbed at his eyes with a foreleg.
I guess it slipped my mind. My meeting with her last night went longer than I thought it would, and, I didn't sleep well on top of that, so... Is there anything I can do to help?
Twilight took a concerned step forward.
I can ask the court to whip up a potion for you that would help you sleep better. I'm sure she wouldn't mind. No, it's fine,
He said, shaking his head and attempting a convincing smile.
I'll be right as rain in a little while. Just gotta get used to, the time changes and stuff.
He cleared his throat.
Yeah, well, we should head over to the medical tent and see what's going on with RD, and...
He mumbled something else unintelligible under his breath as he trotted past them, shaking his head again. Laichonious lifted an eyebrow at Twilight, as if to ask, "Is he all right?" Twilight shrugged at the silent question.
So, care to join us?
"Yeah, sure. I should grab a few of my reference books, though. Won't take but a minute," he said as he ducked back into the tent. Twilight didn't even have a chance to protest. True to his word, he emerged from the tent with saddlebags laden with books about a minute later. Serial had backtracked with a fairly annoyed expression a few moments before, when he realized that he was walking the road without them.
Alright, all set? Yes? Good. Let's go.
Serial droned. He turned back down the road, grumbling under his breath again. Okay? Laichonious muttered as he joined Twilight in Serial's wake. The red unicorn turned back to his friend. "Mins, I do have more than one, secretly. Hold down the fort, will ya? Oh yeah, Rets, you should take all that crap off the hoverboard before it falls over and breaks stuff."
Looks perfectly fine to me. That is, if I knew what you were talking about.
The tan unicorn coughed nervously into the back of his hoof. "Whatever, just don't stress it too much. It might catch fire. The last shield staff I did got really hot the more we hit it, remember? I think all of those spells might have the same flaw. Just be careful, okay?"
Don't worry, I'll keep an eye on them.
Pisfer said in his calm, even voice. Some pony cleared his throat ahead of Twilight. Serial stood in the street a couple scepters away, tapping a hoof. Laichonious ducked his head and trotted over to the gray unicorn. Twilight picked up her own pace to follow closely behind the Bronies, trying to be as invisible as possible. Curiosity burned within her. What was going on in Canterlot? Serial gave Laichonious a tired, sidelong look.
So, all done?
"Yeah," the red unicorn said stiffly. Serial sighed.
Sorry, I didn't mean to be so short with you.
"That's okay," Laichonious said with a grin. "I'm taller than the average Brony." Serial rolled his eyes and blew out his chops in exasperation. Sorry. I just can't help myself sometimes. Go on, I'm all ears. No more interruptions." The gray unicorn breathed deeply for a few moments.
The princess is very pleased that you are willing to help, but there are a few things that you're going to need to know about working in the vault.
He looked incredibly relieved to finally talk about Luna's instructions.
Hey, little fox!
A voice called from above. Laichonious' head snapped up at the strange salutation. Serial bit his bottom lip and puffed out his cheeks, making a strange whistling sound as his eyes almost went cross-eyed. Laichonious shot a worried look at the gray unicorn, but addressed the newcomer. "What's up, Motor? Besides you, that is." The owner of the voice was a warm seafoam green Pegasus hovering a scepter or two from the ground.
Ha! Quick and sly as always, huh, little fox?
The Pegasus dropped to the road beside Laichonious, holding up a hoof. Laichonious chuckled and bumped it with his own. "It's good to see you, dude. But I can't talk right now. I've got an assignment from Princess Luna, and Serial here was about to give me the what's what about it. Top secret, you know. Hush, hush." He winked at the other pony.
Oh, little fox isn't quite so small, is he? Moving up in the world, eh? Guess I should have known, seeing you with a mare like her.
If you know what I mean. .jpg.
Wink, wink.
Hint, hint. Bob's your uncle. Hint, hint. The green Pegasus elbowed the slightly embarrassed scholar. Why aren't these spaced? What the heck? What's going on here? Gosh. Fanfiction? Honestly.
You like to blame it on fanfiction, but I'm sure it's a user error.
Nah, 'cause it's spaced in my document, and I uploaded from the document directly. There's something wrong with their uploader, I think.
Alright, it is fanfiction.
That's okay. Love them anyway. Have to, kinda. Anyway. Onward! Aw, come on, dude. Cut it out. She's standing right there.
What is that? Brasileiro?
Yeah, Brasileiro.
Brasileiro?
Brasileiro.
Brasileiro. I'm much better at Espanol, you see.
Yeah, it's almost like Espanol.
Like, I may not know what you're saying in Espanol, but I can read Espanol. You see? Well, it doesn't matter.
Heavy.
It doesn't matter. I can sort of roll my R's, but not as well as the locals. She doesn't understand brasileiro, dude. What's the big deal?
Yes, she does. The red unicorn tried to explain.
You're pulling my leg.
I am not. Isn't that right, Twilight? He said, turning to her. Before she could affirm to his friend that she did indeed understand, Serial wearily interrupted.
Oh yeah. If we're gonna have conversations that I don't understand, can we at least get going?
Yeah, sorry, Serial. Laichonious mumbled under his breath as he ducked his head. Serial started walking down the street again, a little bubble forming around him as the other Bronies walking by caught his mood.
Ishi. Well, I guess I better leave you alone with Grumps there. Take care, little fox. Oh, and treat the lady to something nice for me, eh?
The strange Pegasus The strange Pegasus roughed up the red unicorn's mane with a hoof, before launching himself into the air with a laugh. The scholar chuckled and shook his head, cantering after Serial. Twilight caught up to him.
Hey, who was that?
Oh, that was Motor. He's sort of like an adopted brother from Brazil. He grinned at the thought.
Is he always like that?
She asked. Yeah, he likes to swoop in, cause a ruckus, and then breeze out.
Why does he call you Little Fox?
That's kind of a long story.
One that we don't have time for.
Cyril interrupted again. He took another deep breath, squeezed his eyes shut, and whispered something to the sky.
Look,
he said, looking back at her and the red unicorn.
I just need to tell you, like, 3 things, okay? Is now a good time? Yeah?
Laichonious nodded his head.
Alright then. First, the vault is off limits to every pony except you and the princesses. Any pony else the princesses decide to bring into the vault are not to be told anything about what is written there unless they ask you explicitly. Second, Luna is your princess. You report to her before any pony else.
Serial gave the other Brony a hard look that made Twilight notice how he didn't say even Celestia.
Third, you are to stick to your guard ponies like glue. They go everywhere with you, and you go everywhere with them. They'll help you with anything that you might need.
He shot a quick glance behind him at Twilight. She narrowed her eyes at the back of his head. That glance held a furtive element to it, like he would say more if she weren't there. Laichonious furrowed his brow and studied the ground in front of him. Why all the secrecy? Serial shrugged.
Beats me. All I know is that the Princess Luna wants it that way, and I'm not gonna butt heads with her.
He closed his eyes and heaved a small sigh. What was he so relieved about?
So what do you think, Doc?
Rainbow's uncharacteristically diffident voice drifted from the massive medical tent. Serial had set a faster pace than she thought.
Let's see. Well, considering how many others have the same symptoms, I would have to say that it's not a natural illness for certain. I doubt that there's anything we can do for either of them. This afternoon, those who have been affected are being moved to Ponyville Hospital.
Dr. Valor's calm, cultured, and concerned voice answered. Oh my goodness, we're under attack! There we go.
Awesome. So, yeah. Should I have them just take Lexicon straight there then? I saw him myself and he's in worse shape than any unicorn here.
Twilight, Serial, and Laichonious walked into a strange and alarming sight. She blinked several times, just to make sure she wasn't seeing things. Much as they were the day the portal collapsed, every cot and bed was occupied by a Brony. Wait, she took a second look at the cots nearest them. These were the same Bronies. There were even some new ones. Many of them had blankets heaped upon them, as if they were freezing. But what made fear clutch at her chest and her breath catch were their colors. A few she recognized. They once had bright and vibrant coats, but here they lay, colors weak and dull. Several ponies moved around the tent. She recognized Nurse Redheart from Ponyville Hospital, tending to the stricken Bronies. Stunned, Twilight stared at the faded colors and shivering forms, her mind reeling.
Twilight! Twilight! Hey, snap out of it, Twilight!
Rainbow Dash had Twilight's shoulders in her hooves, shaking her side to side.
Twilight!
Twilight blinked away terrible visions of a dark and painful future to stare into Rainbow's rose eyes.
What? We've been trying to talk to you, but you're just standing there. What's up?
Rainbow cocked her head, lifting a concerned eyebrow.
Well,
She shook her head and took a deep breath.
Dr. Valor?
Rainbow gave her another concerned look, but moved to the side so that she could talk to the doctor.
Yes, Miss Twilight.
Valor's face was perfectly placid, though a nervous flutter of his alabaster wings betrayed his concern.
When did you notice the changes in their color?
Her mind raced, calling up everything she had learned about magical ailments over the years. Foremost among those were the events of almost 10 years previous, when she truly started to delve into the depths of magic substance.
Well, I first noticed it in the unicorns who were near the staging grounds during the portal collapse. Most notably, the 3 who came through the portal looked a bit washed out.
Twilight's heart pounded in her throat.
You said first, in the unicorns. Have other ponies begun to turn gray? When did this start happening?
The words came out of her in a rush, blending into one another. Dr. Valor blinked at the intensity of her questions.
The first came here 2 days ago. An earth pony. Bit. Yes, that was his name. Why? Can I see him?
She took a step towards the doctor, making him lean back slightly.
Yes, of course. He's right over here.
He gave her a sidelong look as he turned to take them to the one in question. Twilight was practically treading on his tail as he led her along the rows of cots. Hoof steps and a slight fluttering behind her told her that the others followed. She saw several Pegasi, most with a wing or a leg in a cast or bandages, all of them dull shades of their former colors, and shivering in the summer warmth. 2 days? Only 2 days? She had seen this ailment only once and in special circumstances, but it was progressing much faster than the incident she knew. The majority of the Bronies affected seemed to be unicorns, again, worrisome and alarming. The doctor stopped at a cot more than halfway down the length of the tent. It was one of the portable beds from the hospital, and nestled in its aquamarine sheets, beneath a pile of thick blankets, was a gray pony. He wasn't merely washed out and dull like the others, but devoid of hue and a sickly pale gray. Despite the blankets, he quivered on the bed, his teeth chattering. His eyes were heavy-lidded and wandered over his surroundings lethargically, never focusing on anything. His lips moved, air rasping through his chattering teeth as if he were speaking to some pony only he could see. Twilight moved closer, trying to hear what he whispered. At her approach he shied away, bringing up a hoof to shield his eyes as if from something bright.
Does he always do that when some pony comes near?
She asked, backing away from the gray pony. Dr. Valor sighed.
Only to native equestrians. There are 4 others who are gray like him. They whisper and ramble, symptoms consistent with a waking fever dream, but they are all cold to the touch.
He cast his gaze around the tent, face suddenly weary, his ears drooping slightly with an air of helplessness.
Do you know what this is, Miss Twilight? I have tried any and all remedies that I can think of. Nothing works.
Twilight shook her head.
I know what it is, but I don't know why it's happening. It doesn't make any sense.
The bright sunlight that basked the tent interior with an even glow through the white canvas walls suddenly vanished. Every pony shifted in the sudden gloom, heads darting about in confusion.
Oh, yeah. What in the hay? There isn't a storm scheduled today. Hey, that rhymes.
Yeah, it does rhyme. Rainbow muttered, eyeing the ceiling. She looked back at Twilight.
Do you think they're...
Trumpets split the air in a sinister chorus. Perfect silence followed the sustained note, only to be obliterated by a booming voice.
Bronies! Thy princess of the night hath arrived!
Without a word, Serial, Laichonious, and the doctor began to trot to the entrance of the tent. Serial bore a mask of determination. Laichonious laid his ears back, anticipation practically bleeding off of him. Twilight turned to follow, but paused when the poor grey... Twilight turned to follow, but paused when the poor grey Brony whispered louder. He looked at her from under his still-raised hoof, barely keeping his eye on her as it tried to wander.
Like you. Just like you. Want to belong. Just like you. Alone. To belong. Belong.
Like a mantra, he repeated it over and over again, his words soon lost again to the constant hissing and chattering of his breath. Ice slid down Twilight's back. Alone. To belong. Just like you. To belong. Look at that, we actually read the whole thing.
Amazing! Incredulous.
Incredulable.
And you must leave in what, 10 minutes?
Yeah, about 10 minutes. 12 minutes, exactly.
Oh, yes. Well. Yeah. I was thinking of some questions to ask you, because I thought people would be interested, but you know what? I forgot. Probably should have written them down. Probably. Something. How about this? Big Macintosh, will he make an appearance?
Oh, I don't know. He's kind of off being really busy on the farm now.
Yup. Too busy working the fields with the plow.
That's not rusted and saggy.
Yeah. I feel like they were good questions too, but nope. Oh, I'm sorry. Nope.
Nope.
Can't remember them. Something about something. I like it. Now I'm just looking at comments. And one with a picture caught my eye. Yeah. There's nothing that can be said or done to jog my memory, to make me remember whatever it was I was going to ask.
Did see my absurdly long post.
Did I see it?
Yeah, did you?
The one about school?
You're the loudest animal on the planet.
Is it your latest one? Because I've read that. Is that what you're talking about?
I don't know.
Things and stuff, also organization and a ton of stories to write?
Oh, that was my blog post. I was talking about my post on the chapter. Because someone was talking about... Who was it? Who's crushing his egg? Asked me a question. Yeah. He apparently liked my elegant solution to the Derpy Ditsy debate, and I was unaware that it was a debate in the first place.
I thought it was... I don't know. I thought people just had a preference on what to call her. Some people say Ditsy, some say Derpy. I personally say Derpy. I don't know why.
I say they're two different ponies.
Well, maybe that will become canon. Doubtful, but possible.
Ah, we're under attack again.
Oh my god! My school books are here. Well, they can wait at the front door.
Forever. Oh my goodness. Anyway, yeah. I made cool covers for the prequels.
Yeah, people, go read prequels and look at the pretty covers.
Yeah,
Well,
don't read them, just look at the covers. And there is only one you can read anyway, so...
that's true.
And it's not even done. I like how it's just sitting there.
It's just sitting there, waiting to be finished. Waiting to be revised. Waiting to be... I don't know.
Because it's technically done, but
On hiatus.
it's in such terrible shape.
Haven't read a lick of it since you just told me that what did you tell me? You just told me not to read it, I think.
Yeah, I just told everyone not to read it. Go look at it, just don't read it. I've also made the covers for the next two after that one. And then I wrote a lot over the weekend. Not for this, though. Because I'm evil!
Ha ha ha.
Yeah. Well, I gotta go. Yeah, in 5 minutes.
Screw it. There's nothing I can say. Oh, wait. You want to sing that thing?
No.
No.
I couldn't do it. I'd be laughing the whole time.
I think that's an even better reason to do it.
You can play the music, though, at the end if you really want. Of the video.
Sing it by myself.
Just play the instrumental. Just let it go. Put the words up on the screen, then people can sing it to themselves.
No, wait. Robot voice will sing it.
Yes.
Yep, I'll do that. Oh, yeah. I'm the prince. No, wait. I already forgot the lyrics. I'm thinking of the actual lyrics.
Yeah, the actual lyrics.
I'm
the first line. I'm the writer of this fic. So of course they throw a fit.
Something about being unsure.
Yes.
So lengthen your repertoire.
Repertoire.
Yes, repertoire.
Repertoire.
Tomato.
Tomato.
I can't actually bring up our conversations during a call, can I?
Should be able to. I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, you should be able to.
I don't know how. Let's see. What if I click on instant message? Ooh, yeah, that worked. I just had to scroll back through the past week to find it.
Scrolling back through the past.
So I'm on the 16th. Was that when you sent it to me? I don't know. Oh wait, there it is. Yeah.
Have the robot sing it. That will be amazing.
I'm trying to get this fit leg. So of course they throw a fit leg. They feel confused and unsure rats. So lengthen your repertoire.
Repertoire. Repertoire, tomato.
They don't want to understand.
This is how I'm gonna have to do it. I'm gonna have to highlight each line and just
They can't read between the lines. But
That's
what
actually
makes them so confused?
Go on.
It's not a bad robot voice, actually. It's pretty good. It's pretty legit.
Must be their illiteracy.
Except for that.
Oh crap! Now I really gotta go. All right.
Don't
pause this recording.
Don't fail your class. Whatever's next. Whatever you have. Or is it work? Is that what you got?
No, I'm going to advanced animation and effects now.
Sweet.
So I get to go play with particles today. Ha ha
ha.
No, Maya is terrible at particles and fluid effects and rendering and stuff like that. Houdini is much better, by the way. If you're gonna get into that special effects kind of stuff, learn Houdini.
Yeah, Houdini. Alright, got it.
Good job. Instantly. Pretty much.
I'll keep that in mind.
Let's see. I've got the wave file here. Oh boy, how big is it?
An hour? I don't know, 600 megabytes. Nah, probably not that much.
It is only mono, so
300?
yeah, it should be half of that. That's very good. I need to find the folder. Where's my folder? Folder. There's the folder. And... oh, 819 megabytes.
That can't be right. Well, it is right, obviously, but that's way too big.
It's at 1411 kbps, which is actually lower than what I had it on before. Well, let's shove it through the tubes anyway.
So, yeah.
Lonk. Let's see how long it says. I'll just leave my computer on.
Except, wow, you're just using up all my hard drive. Do you know how big my file is? Because
5 days remaining.
yours says 5 days. Mine only says 46 hours, 39 hours, 34 hours.
It's going down to 9 hours. There we go.
Yo, yours says 9 because mine's at 14. Now 12. Now 10. Now 8. Now 7. Now 6. Now 5. Now 4.
Mine says an hour, and it kind of just stayed there. Oh, nope. 50 minutes.
2 hours. So yeah, I'll tell you mine. Ian, I'm not sure if this is actually right. Because I'm still recording, by the way. Yeah. So I don't know if this is actually how big. Let's see, last modified at 343. So it is, yeah, I guess this is, accurate. It's only 127.9 megabytes. Sir, what makes yours so large?
I don't know.
Oh, and here's the thing. It doesn't actually save it as a WAV file. It's actually an MOV. So, it makes even less sense that yours is so big.
It does. I don't get it. I don't understand. So if you're still recording your end, it'll just be recording you responding to me. Because I stopped recording like forever ago.
Well, this time I turned up the volume rather loud, so maybe they can hear you still. I mean, the speakers are 5 inches away from the my microphone, so they could probably still hear you. In fact, yeah, say something right now.
Something right now?
Yes, it is actually picking up your voice, so good. Yeah.
Alright. Well, I'll just leave this on and let it transfer on over. And skedaddle on the class.
Well,
see ya.
Yeah, have fun.
Oh, I shall.
Well, if you enjoyed the reading Laichonious and I just did, be sure to comment, rate, and subscribe. And also, why not check out his channel while you're at it? He does readings. He's doing one reading. Why not check it out?
I'm the writer of this fic. So of course they throw a fit. They feel confused and unsure. So lengthen your repertoire. They don't want to understand. They can't read between the lines. But what makes them so confused must be their illiteracy. Make it so they don't reread. And perhaps also the seed, subplot twist, and betrayal. Feature box mind control. Turn your reputation around. Pitch those adverbs and ellipses. I can help with one small thing. Make an OC based on me.